Hello and welcome in. It is 2025. Happy New Year. It is Wednesday. It is time for a live chat. All things Sentry, one and done, season long. I don't care. The time is yours. I'm just happy to be back in the saddle and ready to rock and roll because as Rube Wright points out, we are so incredibly back right now. If you are new here, welcome. If you're back again, double welcome. Thanks for coming back. This hour is your questions, your concerns, your comments, whatever you want. We'll use logic, reason, tools, models to figure out the best way to proceed moving forward. Now, we usually start these chats off in a couple of ways. We usually look at the weather. We usually look at any potential one and done ownership. I know not every one and done. In fact, probably a small percentage of one and dones are actually starting this week, many next week. And the one that I'm running, the World Championships on Splash, that's actually for Pebble Beach. We'll talk about all of that in just a second, but I cannot wait to look at the weather. And of course, we get Lahaina weather. Yeah, Maui looks pretty good most times a year and definitely looks pretty good this time of year. Low to mid 80s every single day. Not an ounce of precipitation in the forecast until next week, which is great. And then the only wind that might be conceivably impactful to this golf tournament is Thursday afternoon. We're going from 8-mile-an-hour winds up to 15, 16-mile-an-hour winds. Little bumps every afternoon as you get in Hawaii, but seemingly going decreasing throughout the week. Remember, this is it's not a true wave situation because there's only 60 players. They don't go out in waves. They just go out in order. So there are probably only a handful of tee times that are actually going to tee off where this edge might be available to you. And they're probably going to be some of the weaker players. In fact, the early morning groups that go out, Chris Gotterup, Tom Hoagie, Adam Hadwin, Johnny Vegas, Harry Hall, Nick Taylor, etc., probably not using this information or the weather to make any huge decisions. If you were playing on a showdown slate and you wanted to break a tie, that is how I would use it, but nothing too crazy. This is the one and done ownership. This is not projected. This is from Office Football Pool, which allows you to see the site-wide selections. So 18% of people on Office Football Pool have selected Justin Thomas for this week. Then Colin Morikawa, Sahith, and Sung Jae Im are the only other golfers in the double digits between 12 and 11%. I guess this makes sense, right? It is a big purse. You do get the big, $3.6 million payout up top. It's 4 guaranteed rounds. I think you're certainly warranted in burning a Justin Thomas or a Colin Morikawa. There is a lot of Sung Jae love for this week, not only from a perspective of one and done, but from bookmakers. I am not as bullish there, but it's worth pointing out that he's probably the next best player outside of your Xander studs, your Colin studs, your Justin Thomas studs. Xander's only 4%. Do you just burn Xander right now? Right? 3.6 million up top. The only purses that are going to be bigger than this are, well, you're going to get other signature events. You're going to get major championships. Scotty's not going to play. I'm not against you just burning Xander right now. Truly, I'm not. I understand why that might be a little bit scary, but I'm not against going Xander, JT, Colin, just using one of the big boys right now and taking your run at it. Okay. Now, if you want to use data to make these decisions, so this is the tool, and I've showed you this all last year because I'm very proud of it. This is the tool on Pool Genius that I've been consulting on for the last year and a half. I made a league. So this is everything gets custom to you, right? So you put in how big your league is, what are the payouts, all that stuff. And they are giving me Justin Thomas as my top pick. He's going to be really popular, but week one, it doesn't really matter. So you'll see as the year goes on, where if it sees that I'm falling behind, it'll start to take more risks for me. It'll give me a short list every single week. So it's wanting me to run out Justin Thomas. It also has Patrick Cantlay and Sung Jae Im as my top 3 options. You're seeing it's giving me Xander well down the list because of his great future value. I understand why the computer and why the model is pumping that out. So it gives me JT there. We get a discount from Pool Genius because I have a great relationship with them, obviously. Links in the description. I'm going to use them for March Madness. I'm going to use them. I've used them for the NFL Survivor stuff, but this is the tool that I actually have been consulting on. So I think you should go there. Final thought on this. one and done stuff right out of the gate. The splash one and done. Look at our contest right here on the homepage. The $500,000 guaranteed contest does not start until Pebble Beach. Rick, why doesn't it start till Pebble Beach? Well, that was a concession I made, right? To get the full $500,000 guaranteed, we agreed that we're going to start this at Pebble Beach. So the first signature event. So we're not going to miss that side of things, or I guess technically the second, because this is one, but it's kind of a weird one. So get involved in that. I would love to fill this up well in advance of Pebble Beach so that we have a case to be made to say, hey, we want $1 million next year, or we want 1.5 million or something like that. So have at it and let's get going. All right, let's get to these comments here. Will says, Akshay, Connors, or Burns for one and done, can only choose one. I think it is probably DFS. Sorry. Wow, we're off to a great start. Armina's here, everyone. And she has already corrected me on the very first comment of the year. We are rocking and rolling. So I think the answer is Sam Burns here. Let's pull him up. I think a little bit of it depends on what your risk tolerance is. I believe Sam Burns has been trending towards really good play, the approach play, the putting. Let me zoom in a little bit, make it a little bit easier for you guys to read. The way that he sprays it off the tee is not a huge concern for me this week. And his range of outcomes is massive. Okay. I think it is low floor, high ceiling. So if you're willing to take on the risk, I believe the answer is Sam Burns. If you want to go for a little bit more safety, Corey Connors is probably your guy. Hey, Gamins. Hey, Greg. Let's make this year the best year yet. Who's the producer's play of the week? If you haven't tuned in before, Armina makes a play, and for whatever reason, they're usually pretty good. And she's very involved in the mix. They're usually in it on Sunday. They don't always win, but they're around. Armina, who do you got? Ooh, Wyndham Clark. She has picked for this week. Wyndham. What is more likely this year? Rory wins a major or a first-time major winner? I think Rory probably wins a major this year. Said that before. But I think more likely is a first-time major winner, right? Rory is probably, if you were to go look at his odds, plus 250 to win a major, plus 200 to win a major, but that's going to be pretty juiced up. His real odds might be closer to like 20%, 15%, something like that. Probably more likely we get a first-time major winner. You still got Cantlay hanging out there. You've got Victor hanging out there. You've got Ludwig hanging out there. Throw in all the Max Homas and the Sam Burnses, and anybody can win the Open. Just like all that stuff, I think it's probably a major winner. All right, Joey says, can you explain the practicality of when to sub in and out players for the PGA fantasy format? This is new to me. I know that they've been running this contest or this fantasy league for the last couple of years, but I think it is new this year, or at least there's some new aspects or a new website for it this year. We have a league that is up to 650 people. I want this to be the biggest private league on PGAtour.com because I think we need to be the best. Like that's it. So it's free. You can play it from anywhere. Go get in. There's a link in the description. And if you beat me on the season long leaderboard, I will put everybody who beats me into a draw for $500. So you have a chance to win $500 if you beat me. I do want to point this out because somebody pointed this out to me as well in the on Twitter, I believe it was. This is a pretty good league. Sometimes when you get organizations or sports leagues that try to put out a fantasy product, it's usually very corny and silly. This is pretty good. 3 strong segments. The scoring is solid. It's very similar to DraftKings. They've got some bonuses for FedEx Cup stuff, and then they have a captain for this year, which I think that is new, and which gives you double the points. And then you have a bench, so you can make changes after every round. All in all, there's a lot of strategy here, and this is a very good format, but I'm still new to it. So to answer the question, Joey, I believe for this week, subbing in and out players is probably not going to make a ton of sense unless you have a guy on your bench who is very much in the mix to win or inside the top 5, because if they're in your lineup for the fourth round, you also get their FedEx Cup points bonus. So, for example, I've got Morikawa, Schauffele, Ludwig, and Sam Burns, very chalk team that I'm running out for round one. If all of these guys are playing well, I'm not going to sub in Grazerman or Eckroat, because if I sub them in, that counts as a use of them. And you can only use guys 3 times per segment. However, if Sam Burns is in like 60th place and Eckroat is in 3rd, I'm going to get Eckroat in there for at least the 4th round because I want those FedEx Cup bonus points. That is the way that I understand it. Now, I also believe, I'm not positive on all this stuff, I don't think you can sub out your captain. I think you have to leave Morikawa or whoever your captain is in the entire time. Next week and in following weeks, when there is a cut, you're going to want to get your guys who are going to miss the cut out to get your guys on your bench who might make the cut in for points for FedEx Cup, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't think it's a huge thing for this week, but future weeks it will be. And then, of course, if you have guys that are in the mix for FedEx Cup points, you want to roll with them. Links in the description. Go fire up your team. We can talk about that each. I actually do think it is a very good format. Tim says, hey, Rick, appreciate all the work you do. The content on the website has been invaluable to successful fantasy leagues over the last couple of years. I appreciate that. Just trying to continue to make it as good as possible. Yeah, I've got more models and things and data coming and agreements with leagues. I'm really happy with the way that it's going, and I've never been more energetic for 2025. So I'm ready to rock and roll. Smash the like button. Yeah. What seems like a stars and scrubs build this week? What are some of your sub 7K plays? I agree. I've actually tinkered a lot with getting both Xander and Colin into lineups. Remember the way the pricing came out? Scotty was in the pricing. Rory was in the pricing. Colin was not. So if this pricing came out without Scotty Scheffler in it, Xander would have absolutely been way more expensive. Same with Rory being in. So when they adjusted that, they plugged Colin in at $10,100. I think it is very feasible to get both of those guys into your lineups. Okay, so start there. Then sub 7K. I think there's a couple of. I like to work my way up from the bottom. Am I willing to go down to Campos? Probably not. Malnati? No. Goddard? No. Garnett? No. Pavone? Yeah. Solid player. I don't think this is a great golf course for him. We've talked about that. He's with a new swing coach. I'm not against that. Nick Taylor. Yes. I'm a believer that Nick Taylor is not completely washed. Matt McCarty, again, I don't think this is the greatest spot in the world for him, but he makes enough birdies. He is very competitive in some of these fields. He's won 4 times in his last 9 starts. No problem there. Nico Echeverria is probably my favorite. He was, for all intents and purposes, the fall MVP. And the win at Zozo, great field, no cut event, signature type event, like what we're seeing this week. RSM Classic, he finishes runner-up, had a good start at the Black Desert before that, tends to play well in tropical locations. I'm just banking on him being able to roll this into 2025. He's probably my favorite sub 7K play. Honorable mention to Harry Hall. I think Harry, so there's a couple of things here. I think Harry's wedge game is good enough. I think that his putting, I know that his putting is world-class. Those are 2 really important things for this week. Also, he's just great around the greens, which will give you a couple of Greg Ducharme coined this on me on Monday. He called them short game birdies, which I think is just a great line. You make a lot of short game birdies at Kapalua. There are par 4s that are nearly drivable, in which you leave yourself 30 or 40 yards in. Can you get up and down for birdie? The par 5s, if you're not hitting them in 2, you're just, again, same thing, trying to get up and down for birdie. And that is where Harry Hall thrives. So I really like the way that this could set up for him this week. So that's kind of the short list here. One and done starts this week and includes live. Oh, okay. So you're picking 12 live golfers as well. Wow. First off, I mean, aren't those first places like $4 million? So your 12 live events are basically going to be like doubling the signature events at major championships. That's interesting. So you're definitely not using live guys at majors because you're going to be using them at live events where they're way more likely to win, right? Okay. Just trying to wrap my head around this. I don't think burning Xander. Okay. So let's just think about this. Are we ever going to see Xander as the favorite again? Maybe, but it will be at an event that Scotty doesn't play. So I believe last year there were 6 events that Xander, actually I have them right here because I put this in my newsletter. If you're not on my newsletter list, like what are you doing? So these are the 5 events minus the Zurich, which was a team event that Schauffele played, or excuse me, that Xander played without Scotty. Scottish Open, full field event, not a bigger purse. Zozo Championship, similar purse and size. Wells Fargo, which is the Truist this year, which is going to be played at a brand new golf course, but it's going to be a signature event and similar size and everything here. Scotty's probably going to play that. Valspar, which is going to be a full field event, and then Farmers, which is a really, it's not a signature event, and it is a really volatile event. So just thinking logically through this, is Xander going to be a favorite or this short? Again, probably not. If he is, it's going to be in a full field event, which has a smaller purse. Probably not that interesting. Every other time he's probably gonna have to battle Scotty, and even the other signature events are going to be bigger fields than this. Are going to be like 75 golfers, right? So I think it's just play Xander now. It's crazy, but I think it's just play Xander now. I don't mind that. Any word on Vic? Well, I'm just going to double check the media site really quick and see if anything has come out or if he got back on the sheet or let me just see if he went out in the Pro-Am really quickly. Pro-Am transcripts. Okay, did not get back on the interview sheet. Let me just see if they made any adjustments to the Pro-Am tee times. No. So that's 8:22, which should be right about now. He should be in the Pro-Am right now. So I have not seen anything different about that. So as far as I'm aware, it seems like he's gonna try to go for it. What's the best way to factor in recent history into the custom model? Well, there's a lot of ways to do that, Webb. So custom model, rickrungood.com. I'm very far zoomed in so that you guys can see this, but underneath strokes gained, there are different default ranges for you. Last 12 rounds, 24, 36, 50, 100. So you could say something like, give me strokes gained approach for the last 24 rounds for 25 of your weights, strokes gained off the tee for 36 for 25 of your weights. You could also just simply change the settings down here and change everything to be the last 12 rounds. Or you could say, actually, I want a date range, which is just since the start of the fall or something like that. So you can do this a variety of ways. I like to kind of stick with the last X number of rounds. It's the way my brain works a little bit better. And then I'm just going to drop the last 50 weights on here just so that we can see this. And then you'll see those, those stats are going to come over here. That's how you're going to calculate your score. And that's how you're going to rock and roll. Did Victor get all these headshots look wrong to me? Is this Victor's headshot? Okay. So everybody's getting their new headshot uploaded. Did you notice that they did not upload Ben On's headshot correctly? This is from the PGA Tour. It's not from me. That's Denny McCarthy's headshot. Okay. So it looks that way on the PGA Tour's website as well. So I assume that they fat fingered this when they're putting in everybody's new headshots, but it does look different. Colin's new headshot, is that in there? That's his old headshot. I don't know why I know that, but I do. Let's see. Playing 3 entry max, low stakes DK this week. Any general tips on roster constructor, particularly how to think about ownership? Yeah, let's go to the cheat sheet here. Let's look at some of the ownership of these golfers. So it looks like Xander, as expected, is going to be very popular. Then that the next 5 or 6 guys are all going to be pretty spread out between 18 and 22%. That's Colin and everybody else down to Sung Jae. I would not, again, like I said, be opposed to going with Xander and Colin. Victor at 7.5%, as appealing as that is, that might just be too much to handle. Robert McIntyre at 11% seems very interesting to me, but you're not getting a ton of super popular options here. Nico will be the most popular in the 6K range, but that's only like 12%. I think roster construction wise, if you went Xander Colin, that would make you different enough to not have to worry about things. If you got anybody plus Victor, that would make you different enough. You wouldn't have to worry about the rest of it. Or if you just skipped out on Xander, which would be a little bit scary, but that would make you different enough to not have to worry about anything else. That would be the ways that I would consider doing that. I'm curious on what keeps Patrick Cantlay out of your top 10, lack of winning or something else. Well, I assume you're talking about the top 50 that I put out earlier this offseason. First off, that was a very difficult project to do. I just, like, what am I using as my North Star? Am I just saying at the end of the year, strokes gained 1 through 50, or am I looking at it by saying, who had the best year? I don't know. But there's a couple of things for me. What are we going to get from Patrick Cantlay? He's coming off the worst year of his career, still very good, but it was factually the worst year of his career, about a 0.8 in terms of his strokes gained numbers. To say it's going to be a good year for Patrick Cantlay, he's probably going to have to win. Okay, well, we are now in the midst of a 2-year winning drought. Didn't win in 2023, didn't win in 2024. You look at his metrics here. While they're good, you start to see a couple of holes pile up. He didn't putt well for parts of the year, didn't strike it well for parts of the year. That's a little bit concerning. Maybe the other thing is he just didn't play a lot. I don't know if that is going to be the case moving forward, but he and Victor Hovland played some of the smallest schedules of anybody in 2024. So there's just a lot of little concerns that I have with Cantlay. And when you're in the top 10, it's like you got to split hairs a little bit. So that's really it. I don't have any major concerns. I have a handful of small concerns. With more events being no cut, are we seeing any statistical trends show up in terms of player type? Yeah, I mean, listen, the best players win. I think it's part of why Scotty Scheffler has won so much, why Xander Schauffele and like those guys are just pumping out top 5 finishes, because you guarantee them 4 rounds, the cream rises to the top. I think what you're going to start to see is this. So there's a lot of different ways to do this, but if you go to the power rankings and look at the strokes gain distribution, guys that gain strokes, 2 or more strokes to the field frequently, I think are going to have really good years, right? When you just start piling up more available rounds, these guys are going to start to have better years. So it's like Xander Schauffele's here, no surprise, but like Davis Thompson, Harry Hall, Max Grazerman, Justin Thomas, even, it's just like you guarantee them 4 rounds and 50% of the time they're going to gain at least 2 strokes to the field. Like they're just going to be in the mix more frequently. So that's what I think we're going to see. And then, yeah, I mean, just like the best players are going to be winning. I don't know any other way to put it. I play my super draft so I can play anyone I want, no matter what they cost. And 2024, Rick made me bunches of money. I'm going to roll again. Okay, I didn't know where that was going. Congrats, Keith. I love it. Can't live without it. Oh, can't live without it. Play in a 3 max. All right. When you say like I can't live without it, I take everything into consideration. So I take the price, the golfer, his ownership, all of that stuff. And like the golfer that I could not live without. It's either Xander or Colin. And I know that is a very funny answer. Oh, now I've got 2025 coming in here. I fixed this bug for 2024, and now I've got 2025 coming in, which is going to be something. I guess that's better than not having 2024, but I'll have to fix that. The new year is putting bugs in my system, but just that one, no worries there. Because of the nature of this, I think it's Xander. So just to be clear, remember when this field dropped, Scotty was in this field. If Scotty wasn't in this field, Xander Schauffele would have been $12,000 or more, because he's 5-1. When you are 5-1, so basically Xander's odds have drastically changed to win this event, but obviously because of his price, his price didn't change. So Scotty was 11-9, Rory was 10-5. And that's really all that really. Fleetwood was $9,200, but Xander would have been like $12,000. So I think it has to be Xander. There's a big enough gap between him and everybody else. Even though I love Colin, but like let's just do the last 100 rounds. I hope Xander's going to be number one because I imagine he's going to be. Yeah, I mean it's like a huge gap. He's a half a stroke better per round than everybody else, and he's been great here. So I think it has to be him. I'm excited about Jordan this year, Rick. What do you think he'll do? Yeah, I am too. So he is probably the biggest, in terms of what other people probably think, or at least based on the comments. I have a more bull stance on Jordan Spieth than a lot of people. Drove it beautifully in 2024. Anything that required impacting the ground, he was bad. So that's approach play around the green. Gets the wrist figured out. He told us at Wyndham subconsciously, like he's scared to hit the ground. Seems to have that behind him. And he kind of putted pretty bad. But I think that if he continues to drive it well, which I think is reasonable, if he gets better around the green and approach because his injury is fixed, I think that's reasonable. And he just kind of averages back out to not like 2015 putting Jordan Spieth, but like 2020, 21 putting Jordan Spieth, there is like a stroke per round of improvement coming. I'm not sure that that's that big of an exaggeration. In fact, let's actually, I don't know if I have, let's try. Oh, he's not in this field. Can I get him still? No, I don't let you do that because it throws things off. All right. I'll write that up in my newsletter. Any inside info on when Splash is letting the quote coming soon states in? Well, so I think that's Pennsylvania. I'll try to pull it up here. I don't have any inside information, but I can just pass along what I've been told. So it's Pennsylvania, Missouri, and I think there was one more. Rhode Island, maybe? One of these small New England states that I can't see on the map. I don't have any inside information, but they told me it would be before our one and done kicked off, which is in 28 days. So that's the timeline that I have. Rick, I'm trying to get my girlfriend into golf. Good idea. I told her she needs to pick 3 golfers to root for. As a Bama alum, she has JT Dunlap and said it's up to Rick for her third. Thoughts? Oh boy. Armina says Adam Scott, probably. He's very good looking. If she wants to go with someone who's going to be in the mix and is cute, Victor Hovland. What? What do you mean no? Okay. Max Homa. Fun on Twitter. He's rocking Lululemon now. He could be a top 12 player. Let's just say Max Homa. What's the deal with the PGA Tour Live merger? You know as much as I do. I have no idea. Honestly, I think both of them are waiting each other out. I think that Live thinks they can bleed the PGA Tour to death with money and just like decimate them. And I think the PGA Tour wants to see what's going to happen with Live after these 3 and 4 year contracts are up. Quite honestly, that. Also, I don't know if they have a good merge plan that anybody agree. The guys on Live don't want access to the PGA Tour. So now what? There's only like 8 guys that want to play the signature events, and they want to make sure they get into majors. So how do you reunite them? it should be like a Premier League, right? There should be, I have not released this, but I've written up like 3 different league plans that are sitting in my drafts of my emails right now. One is like a Premier League type thing, which is, 8 times a year or something like that. The top guys from each come together or whatever. You could actually do it as teams. There's a cool team aspect that I've put out there. Well, actually, I haven't put out there, but I put it on paper. I don't know if there's a good way that they've figured this out to come back yet. So I think they're both kind of waiting each other out. Thoughts on JT this week? I am quite warm, not only this week, but every week, on Justin Thomas and Colin Morikawa until I am told otherwise, or until I tell you otherwise. Justin Thomas is back. That does not mean he's the best player in the world, but it means he is he is capable of winning a major championship. He's capable of winning multiple times a year, and he is a borderline top 8 player in the world. That is the stat profile that he's putting together. This is the same stat profile that he did all of those things with. Positive off the tee, high end approach player, one of the best around the green players in the world, and a horrible putter. Fine. Titleist Scotty's releasing the new putters this week in Maui. We'll see if he's got one in his hand. We'll see if he does anything different. He should just go to the broomstick, just go to the lab putter, just go to something. If he does that, he wins like multiple times this year. For this week specifically, JT's been great here, and that's an understatement. Twice a winner, 2 more third place finishes, another T5, no worse than 25th. I know it's a small field. Because he is one of the best wedge players in the world. So we talk about those shots. I wrote about this in my newsletter. Where do the shots come from? The shots come from 2 places. They come from like 175 yards and out and 50 yards and in. And JT, like 50 yards and in, 100 yards and in, best in the world. And then he's pretty good from some of those longer iron spots as well. I don't know why I'm clicking around like that. What is a good tiebreaker for when deciding between 2 golfers? When in doubt, take the better ball striker. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I would when in doubt, take the higher upside golfer, I guess. You could do that by going to the power rankings, go and do strokes gain distribution, sorting it by how often a golfer gains 5 or more strokes to the field, and just pick that guy. I wouldn't mind that. Do you think we'll ever see a day, buddy, Clinton? I'll read the question. Do you think we'll ever see a day where the TV broadcast has an analytics guy on to explain strokes gained, and why hasn't CBS just put you on yet? What you have just described is, like, for me, utopia. And I think it is an easy win for the networks. In the same way that they throw it down to the rules official to talk about that situation. You get an expert to talk about a situation. In the same way they throw it down for an interview, you get an expert to ask the questions. You throw it down to a data person to explain how to play the hole, where to put it, where not to put it, instead of just based on feels, what golfers are doing historically, where they're gaining, where they're losing. All this stuff is so simple. And actually to the point where if you've been following on Twitter, Clint, I'm just going to do it from home. I have an agent, which is crazy to say, but I do. I've had one for a couple of years. We've pitched this. We have pitched this to networks. We've pitched it to leagues. We've pitched it. Not much in response. I don't know. Maybe I'm blinded by it. They don't seem to care. I don't know. Maybe it's not me. Maybe they want somebody else. I don't know. So I'm just going to do it from home. Right? I've been putting it on the screen. I've been firing up the laptop. I'm just going to start doing it in real time or after rounds or whatever. And we'll see where it goes, because I agree. It is such a simple way to engage the audience. You could throw in the betting stuff if you want. How happy would partner FanDuel Sportsbook be if they threw it down to Rick Rungood the day in front of the magic board to show you where a golfer has to gain, where they can't afford to lose over the next couple of holes coming down the stretch, what their live odds are, and explain that to an audience. You're preaching to the choir here. I'm just like, we've tried it all. I don't know. I'm just going to do it myself. We'll see what happens. Rick, thoughts on Homa with Greller on the bag? Bullish on Homa in general. Is using new clubs. I think that he showed signs of improvement at the end of last year. I don't think having Greller on the bag is going to be anything different. I'm sure that they've got this all figured out, but like he's not going to be on the bag moving forward. Joe Greiner's going to be back. I don't think that that's a huge tangible difference, but I think Max Homa is going to have a good week. What golf betting market do you think trends have the softest lines when a new season kicks off? Not necessarily when a new season, but I do think that like the round by round matchups are still printable. Matchups in general, I think, are still very soft. I think that, and this is one of my goals in 2025. I've tried to have a renewed focus on matchups. It's sexy to bet the outrights. But like the hold on some of these markets is insane. And the matchup market is so much better, in my opinion. So I've got like a huge, much bigger exposure to matchups this week than I do in outrights. I'm trying to be a little bit renewed there, but round by round matchups, especially guys that are playing in the same group after the first round, you get like the three balls, or on the weekend, you get the guys that are paired up. Favorite restaurant while in Vegas? Oh boy. I mean, this just could take forever. So it depends on what you're looking for. God, everybody loves that Carbone, which is at Aria. That's great. Din Tai Fung, but these are places you can get other places. The best pizzas at Good Pie in the Arts District. Barry's Prime is pretty good at Circa. That's a good steakhouse as well. What am I missing?
I really like that Japanese place we went to at Resorts World.
Kusanori. Actually, Resorts World in general has a ton of great places. There's a sushi Japanese place. Kusanori at Resorts World is fabulous. Resorts World in general has a lot of good stuff. But this could be a 45-minute pod. There's just so many great places. Very much depends on what you're looking for. Last man in, Bobby Mack or JT Poston. I'm a Bobby Mack guy in general and moving forward, but I think Greg as well pointed out JT Poston to me, and this does make a little bit of sense. If you think that wedges and putting are important, here comes JT Poston. Didn't have a great end of the year, but then runs out and wins the Shriners, plays well at the RSM, like started to really put it together late. I think he's long enough. You don't have to be long at the Plantation course. You just have to get it over the correct ridges. He's definitely long enough to do that. He's gained strokes off the tee in each of his last two starts here, finished T21, T5. So I like both of them this week. If you wanted to go Poston, I think that's fine. Like I'd probably buy Bobby Mack for the year. I might buy JT Poston this week. What's the difference in strategy between a small and large one and done entry pool? Well, if there are thousands of entries, you're probably going to have to earn like $29 million over the course of the year to win it. When you are in a smaller one, like 100 people, you're probably going to have to earn like $20 million. It is just much, the risk that you need to take on to be absolutely perfect to win a larger one and done is a lot higher than that of a smaller one. So that's why I worked with the Pool Genius guys on this. So I've got a very intimate knowledge of how these calculations work and all that stuff. Having a program that looks at all of that. Do you have segment payouts? Is it winner take all? What's the payout for the first payout position? Not first place, but like the first payout position. All of that stuff impacts your decision. Plus future value, everything else that's going on. And just to get this short list of golfers. So I believe it's critical. This, I don't always blindly follow this. I like to look at the short list, then kind of make my decisions from there. But it really, it is just such a huge difference. And like what happens when you're, like if you're in the lead or you're front running, your strategy is vastly different than if you're trying to play catch up as the weeks go on. So when you're in this and you're, okay, well, I'm 5 million behind, but now I'm 3 million behind, or I'm 7 million behind. Like that all changes. It all changes. Happy New Year, Rick. You as well, Andrew. I got Thigala at 40-1. Thoughts? I have a really difficult time with Sahith. I think that he has the firepower to make enough birdies here. I think that his lack of accuracy off the tee will not punish him here. So I do think this is probably on the better end, maybe like halfway between average and perfect spots for him. But I do have a very difficult time handicapping him. But I'll say 40-1 is quite positive. All three of these guys are obviously great, Drew. They're the three best players in the field, probably. Xander, Colin, and Ludwig. You can't go wrong. If you made me pick one, Xander. Homa signing with Cobra could be the distance. It could be. I don't know. We'll see. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. You mentioned everyone hitting it to the same spot off the tee this week. Would this bring in dudes like Henley Harmon? Yeah, right? So as long as you're long enough, which I don't think there's anybody in the field who's not super long. But like, look, like this is what I put in my newsletter, right? Like everybody just plays from the same spots. The ball rolls out to the same spot. Everybody plays from the same location. So now it turns into a lot of a second shot contest. So yes, especially guys that can putt well. Henley's a very good putter. Harmon at times has been, but I don't think he was recently. I think that's actually been one of his flaws. Let's pull up his numbers here. Yeah, a little bit better at the RSM and the Hero, but the end of the year was not a very good putting stretch for Brian Harmon. No, it's not your fault. Listen, I get fired up as well, man. Like I want, there's nobody in the world who wants golf to succeed like I do. There is nobody in the world who wants like the broadcast. Like I watch more golf than anybody. I want the broadcast to be perfect. I want it to be amazing. I want it to be NFL Red Zone. I want it to be like well done. I want the best people on there. I don't care if it's me or not. I want it all. So yeah, I do get fired up about it, but it's because I love it so much. Happy New Year's, Rick. Either of you have resolutions? Yeah, I think we do. Goals / resolutions. There's also a Japanese term called masogi or kasogi. I think it's called masogi, which is like having one big goal at the end of the year. So like at the end of the year, I'm going to run a marathon. That's not my goal. But like once you put that as your focus, you then have to take the steps to get there every week and every month. Kaizen is also a good one. Kaizen's like constant improvement, right? Which is something we always strive to do. But yeah, I've got a couple fitness, golf related goals. Probably not going to share them in depth, but yeah, a lot of goals actually. I'm a big goal maker. Any thoughts on Max Grazerman? I'm probably too high on Max. Drives it well, putts it well. The driver will probably be negated here. The putter, I mean, he might be the best putter in the world. We are about to learn what Max Grazerman is because from basically the US Open on, he was one of the best players on the PGA Tour. But now he's going to enter a lot of different fields that he has never been in before. That looks like a new. So these Callaway guys must be wearing Elite. Must be the new Callaway thing. Matt, he looks like he lost weight to me. He looks skinnier to me. But that is definitely a new headshot from Max. I'm excited about him. Been on the head-to-head matchups for 2 years, and I only bet guys and trios when there's oh, okay. Yeah, got it. No, my one and done starts at Pebble. John says, to touch on things the broadcast should add, it still amazes me we can't see every shot in 2025 or events go off the air. I for years, I've wanted to make like a video, it'd be obviously like a parody video of basically if the NFL was broadcast like golf was broadcast. And, it'd be Bills versus Chiefs, greatest matchup ever. They would come in the middle of the second quarter and they would have to show you like 3 unbelievable plays made by Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, or they would just tell you about a great play, but we don't have video of it. And then as plays going on, they'd cut to the CEO of Pepsi who would be like describing their Q2 earnings and be like, why am I watching this instead of the football game right now? And then with like 4 minutes to go in the game, they would just say, all right, well, it's been real. Thank you so much. Like, go watch this like go see who wins in the newspaper. Like it would just be so insane if any other sport was broadcast the way golf is. And I get it. It's all day long. It's 4 days. It's not easy. Put hard cameras out there. There's got to be footage somewhere. How I am trying to get on Splash. What is the referral code so I can get the 10? I don't know what that means. Try Rick. I don't know. $10, $10. I don't know. If you use the link in my description, it should work, but I don't know what that means. What's for lunch? So I had breakfast already. I had an omelet for breakfast. Lunch, I think, is going to be a late lunch, and it's probably going to be. I have meals down there. I got like a meal prep thing. What do I have down there? I think I've got, I don't know, some type of chicken dish. I'm in the UK. The Splash comp's completely off the board. Yes, unfortunately. So Splash is 40 some odd states, DC, most of Canada, but not in the UK yet, unfortunately. So yeah, fire up the PGA Tour's fantasy game. That should be free and available to everyone. They have their own prizes too. I don't know if I mentioned that. Like they've got, if you win their segments or their season long, I think you get access to like PGA Tour Superstar gift cards and stuff like that, club fittings. And then if you beat me, I'll put you in an entry to win $500. We've got 663 people right now. It would be very cool to get that to like 700. Is that realistic? 800. Is that realistic? Got a day left. Oh, okay, got it. I don't need the 10, but I don't know how to get you the 10, which is, I don't know. Yes, 1% every day, Aaron. 1% every day. Okay. Let's do this. Rapid fire. Anything you want. We're coming towards the end here. Rapid fire. While those come in, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you the pitches here, right? Go sign up for PGA Tour Fantasy. Go sign up for the Splash contest. We've got the Listener League for this week, which is completely guaranteed. We've got the $500,000 guaranteed one and done coming in a couple of weeks. There's also a $1,000 high roller one and done, which also starts at Pebble, which I'll get in with you and everybody like that. But the contest for the Listener League is almost full. And then let's pile into the one and done. The links for everything you always need are in the description. Pool Genius, my newsletter, which is 100% free. I would not promote it if it wasn't something I use or believe in. I just wouldn't. I think we're 10 years into this. I think that I've built that reputation. And sign up for rickrungood.com. I guess I should probably be promoting that too. Giant website, database, golf betting models, fantasy. Great to see you, mate. Hope you had a great Xmas and New Year's. Thank you. You as well. Yes, we're just thrilled. 2025 is going to be awesome. Who's winning this weekend? Oh, I've made 3 bets. Don't bet what I bet. Go bet whatever you want. But these are the bets that I've made. Morikawa at 13-1. I thought that number was good, obviously, because I saw him at 10 or 11 anywhere else. Grazerman at 35. Robert McIntyre at 35. I'm not thrilled, but I just have been excited for those guys. And now all of a sudden I get a chance to bet them. So I'm going to bet them. What tournament are you most looking forward to, including Live and Ryder Cup? Well, the Ryder Cup's going to be awesome, but let me think. No Olympics this year. Ryder Cup's going to be sick. It is a Ryder Cup year. That's an obvious answer. There is an event. Okay. So the Wells Fargo is called the Truist this year, and it's not at Quail Hollow because Quail Hollow is hosting the PGA. So they're taking it to Philadelphia Cricket Club. So as a Philadelphian, that's sick. I should probably go to that. But Philly Cricket is going to be awesome. And I don't know how it's going to work for the pros, but I cannot wait to see it. So that is probably the one I'm most excited about. And it's a signature event, I believe. So you should get all the best guys there. Other than Circa, favorite place you've gambled in Vegas, Resorts World, is, I mean, listen, you're probably not getting like the best stuff, but Resorts World is very fun. They've got a lot of new things and good. The video poker payouts are not the greatest unless you're in like the high limit room. The win is obviously great. I've heard good things about, and I haven't been there yet, but what is that? The Station Casino, but not, it has a different name. It's called something Station Casino. It is right next to Circa. I've heard they have good pay tables. Also, it's not on the Strip, but Durango is a new resort. Gorgeous. Loved it. Love it. One and done. Burns, Akshay, Lowry, Kirk. Probably Burns. Oregon or Ohio State? Oregon. I have no idea. Will you be covering TGL at all? Are you excited? I am excited for TGL. Will I be covering it? I don't know. So I do have access to their data. I did get in touch with them. I got their data. There's a lot of stuff in there. I don't know how useful it's going to be. Maybe I'll add it to the website. I don't know. I like a shot has to happen for me to be able to see what's going on, but they do have a lot of data. I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll be fun. I think I'll enjoy it. I don't know what the sentiment is going to be, but I am excited about it. Maybe I'll get down there for a match day at some point. But yeah. All right. I think we're going to do it. It's been an absolute pleasure. New year, best us. Let's do it. Let's rock and roll. Appreciate you guys in a big way. Everything you need is in the description. Enjoy golf. We're back, baby. Goodbye.